So we're live, trying to wait on Eric to get in here and make sure everything's working right. Going to try to add a guest, and that will be Eric. So thank you guys for tuning in. It was an exciting week at the racetrack. Tough break. It was a wild, I would say, weekend for sure. Trying to collect my thoughts here, going live. First time I've went live, and phone's making me hold it up straight. Eric should be in a second if we're able to get this to work, and we should. We've done this before, just not with the podcast set up. Really interested to see what you guys thought. Looks like we should be getting Eric in just a second.
There we go.
What's up, man? They thought they was getting a special guest, and it's just you.
It's just me. It's only me.
Man, I was trying to buy time here and saying it was a wild weekend. I think that's an understatement.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I can hear you.
What a horrible week for... Yes. What a horrible week for you to bring me on here.
Horrible. I mean...
For once, you're the most hated one in the family.
Savory Speedway here. Is that Corey?
I think it might be him, yeah.
And now we got Grasshopper. Y'all got to come in with your name like you did the Donnie show so I can...
Oh, no, they're not going to. This is like short track talk. They're not saying their real name.
Yeah, no, they're going to keep it rated R. Just remember my audience. Some of them's kids, but Mark's not for kids too, but try to keep it PG, at least PG.
So better than I am on the Donnie show. Got it.
Yeah. Try to be better than you are on the Donnie show.
Yeah. So, how did your weekend go?
Man, my weekend?
Yeah. What would you do? Or hey, you know what? Y'all on vacation. Y'all on vacation again.
This is back-to-back beach trip. We're at the house in Gulf Shores this week.
Can't hide money.
You know what? If I got told that once this weekend, I got told that. That's probably the 12th time.
Be like that sometimes.
So no, we're not done. Stephanie, we just started. We are literally 3 minutes, 20 seconds into this, and this is the first time. This is awesome. We got on here pretty quick, Eric.
So it's seamless. This is a better setup than Facebook for.
Yeah, for going live, it's definitely pretty slick. But I don't want to do the Facebook because y'all are doing it. You know, like if y'all ever just quit doing it, you know what I'm saying. Y'all started it, so I didn't want to piggyback off that. It's really easy to get an audience on Facebook. It's tough on YouTube. I mean, I was pumped about 1,200 subscribers on YouTube. So if y'all are listening and not subscribed, click the button. It means a lot. So 20 people right now going on live on YouTube for me is, I'm pumped.
I look super tired on this camera.
Dude, you've been working all day.
Hot,
I traveled all the way down here, drink a Monster.
Man, it's hot.
Yeah, for sure. So enough with the chit chat. There's 19 people in here. What'd you think? Overall weekend, 1 out of 10 for excitement for the crowd.
I mean, it's a 10 for excitement for the crowd, no doubt. They had a lot to cheer. They had a lot to get upset about. The Super Street race I thought the Pure Street race took a long time.
The Super Street race. Let me tell you this, and I was thinking about this on the way down here today. And yes, I think about racing 24/7, so like you do. That did not have a big race feel.
Yeah. Well, because 2 cars almost lapped third, you know.
It when they was lining up the week before, I was like, there's no out of town cars.
Yep.
There was no trash talk. You know, and everybody's everybody talks crap, this and that. Yeah, so my speaker's probably covered. Can you tell me, Destiny, can you hear me better now? If you can, I'll click it up to the next setting. But there was no out of town cars at all, right?
Right.
So the only person you brought back out of anybody, not you, but the track, this was pretty much their promotion,
Yeah.
was Zach Smith. But I think he was setting up for it all year anyways. We expected him.
Yeah.
At the end of the race, it wasn't, and I'm not definitely not discounting Chase Argent came out and beat him. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
him and Zach lapped, like you said, him and Zach lapped
Hey,
everybody. But
it
it
was.
wasn't like that
Yeah.
stand on the roof, kick the windshield out of the car feel.
It was. And not. This isn't a knock on the Argents. It was really good for them. This is now twice in a row. I think they have slayed the dragon. That Zach
Yeah.
Smith. Zach came out and won like the first 4 or 5 in a row, and then they've come out and beat him twice now. So they've got that car rolling for sure.
Next year, I hope me and you can get together and do this just because it's fun and it's entertaining. When these people like next year, Carter Murray's went back to back. No matter
Yeah,
what, no matter what
yeah,
big body class he runs, if it's the bigger class, the Super Street, or just the Pure Street again, we got to get to him the week before the race is going and
yeah,
say, back to back, can you do it again? Get the promotion up, man, because like you said before, y'all weren't necessarily doing it for money. You're just doing it to get excitement in short track racing.
yeah,
Regardless, if he's racing y'all series, he's the back
yeah,
to back biggest race at I think that's the biggest race other than the King of Dixie at Sayre.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it for definitely for the pure streets and super streets, but I think overall it is. I
Yeah,
mean,
like
the push
total
truck
all the
Pete
divisions.
race, the push truck Pete race brings anywhere from 15 to 22 cars. I think there've been over the 3 years it's ran. It's a pretty good deal, but really all it does is bring together all of the Sayre cars at once. You don't
Correct.
really, you don't pull Huntsville cars for that. They'll come down and run for $100, but not for five.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been the weird thing to me is you can put all the money in the world. They'll show up for a $200 to win regular street stock race, but not for $2,500 to win just because. And then the excuses come in. Well, they're going to pick and choose who wins,
That's
which
the
is that's
biggest
that's the big
load of
gripe.
that's the huh? Who's?
That's the biggest
Oh,
gripe from up
I
there
thought you said
about
that
us
was
is
Zach Smith's big gripe. I was
yeah,
like,
no, 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 no,
no,
no, no.
I can't get. I was like, no, it can't be that guy. No, I really thought Zach Smith was going to hammer him. I did figure that it was going to be ugly because he got to start on the point, and when he first jumped out there, he was gone. Like that initial
Yeah.
start,
Oh yeah.
that little motor he's got will run off the bottom end.
Yeah.
But one
And
thing you got to
and
say
and
about Trey Sargent, as the race goes
yeah.
on, he gets better.
And that too, you got to think about Zach's running crate engine.
Yeah,
So he's running a sealed 602 crate engine. Now, advantage he gets a 500 CFM Holly 2 barrel, where everybody else, the built motors are running 350s. But you think of horsepower to horsepower, and they've probably got anywhere from 50 to 100 over what he can do. So, and I'm not saying it's an excuse.
and
He's getting an advantage out of
you
it.
can't make that much back up in 500.
He's having to drive the car so on the edge,
Yeah,
especially, Argent was so close to him the whole time. He had to really drive the car to stay out there.
yeah,
So, and you can see that's what happened when I was standing there next to you. Water got put on the track and RG got by him about that time, but then Zach could never get back to him. And then I turned to you. They were showing 5 to go. I said, Zach used it up.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then from then on, he was sideways at both corners.
yeah.
So they're both
Tires were
fast and
gone.
they're
Yeah,
pretty equal still because Zach never really let him get far away. I'll say this to add to the drama: Carter Murray would have won that Super Street race that night.
Cameron Kilgore was bumping the stopwatch and said they were about 3/10 faster than the laps they were turning.
Carter Murray would have won Saturday night if he'd have been in that race.
Carter Murray would have definitely
by probably a straightaway or more.
He might have would have lapped everybody up to third. He might have actually got Goose.
Yeah.
Because he would have been humming. But that goes also to say, I can't wait to see him and Argent race against each other. Because they're both kart drivers.
Yep.
But like right now, Argent has a bigger cam.
Yep.
And a bigger rev limiter.
Yep.
If I was Carter Murray, I would move up with the exact setup I've got.
Yeah.
Would not change a thing.
Well, that was the question I was asked was, in October, they're talking about running with no rev limiters. And I don't know exactly what the rules are going to be because let me put this out there too. I don't have control like I do at Jasper. I stand behind it, and I'm involved in it, but it's not.
It's going to have to be somewhat what you want to get behind.
So, I was asked by a Pure Street guy, "Hey, if there's no rev limiter rule, can I still run my rev limiter?" Like it's an advantage. He can back the corner up, and
Well, once you get used to driving with something like that, if you go to any big super late model race, everybody's talking about bouncing them off the chips, not good for the car. And until I went and actually watched the super late models run and the pro late models, they're on the rev limiter about for sometimes 50 feet.
The Snowflake, go watch the Snowflake at the Derby. Yeah. They're on the rev limiter for 100, 150 feet.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally it's their engine stop.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, some of those guys are running.
Use it if I need to.
Yeah. They don't want to over rev their engine, kind of like you guys with the pony. Y'all can run them real high up there, but there's a fine line between winning and pushing it too far.
Yeah, but we're talking about a $4,000 motor versus a $54,000 motor.
Right. Yeah.
If my motor was $54,000, I would have it set where the builder said, "Don't go past this." My builder says, "Run it till it blows," and that's what
Well, you know the old saying, you've got to.
Hang on, real quick. We gotta. Can you see the message coming in here?
Yeah, I saw that. You were so mad that Chase got first that you had to spin him out.
He didn't get first. Technically, I was coming by, but we'll talk about that in a second. So finishing up this Super Street deal. On a scale of 1 to 10, I thought it was like a 6 on the race level. Yeah. It wasn't like it was exciting because it was the big class and there was Shannon but as the race went on, it fizzled out. No matter what happened.
It's kind of like what I always said, and the reason that we started doing street stock races at Jasper wasn't that Sayre is not as big of a track as Jasper, because obviously Sayre's walks the dog on any track. You look at Huntsville, I mean, and not trying to talk crap on them, but you look at their car count against Sayre's, and it's pretty close. But they're running 1 to 2 extra divisions.
Yeah.
And then the grandstands are pitiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely pitiful. Now, but what we always try to do was I stood behind, I want every fast guy there so that there's no excuses.
Put it on a night where they can get there.
I put enough money up, and I put it at a time and a night on a date where nothing else was going on.
Yeah.
Where you couldn't say, well, you won it, but Justice wasn't there, or you won it, but Henry wasn't there, or I was running for points, but if Chase Sargent had been there, you would have been different. I tried to put it, to where there was no excuse.
Yeah.
Other than you just weren't going to come.
If anything, there was something left to desire.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at.
It just wasn't that pop. Like, man, that guy, he walked out of there knowing he just whipped every dog that could have come to the park.
Well, hey, I mean, again, you outrun every car that didn't show up.
That's it, yeah. And there were some good cars there. Like, how many times have you seen Shannon Dawkins get lapped? I mean, of course, I think he was off. Those Toyota motors cost a lot more than $4,000 to build. You and I both know that. I can show you a junk pile of motors that my dad builds, and that's what we use. We probably have less than $3,000 in a motor. Eric, you've been around.
I'm telling you,
you've lived down the hill. Is my dad not built every single motor we've ever?
The man reuses head gaskets if they look good.
And that was when we used to run Pro head gaskets. That's not even these new metal ones. He'll repaint a metal one 15 times.
You can't tell me that Skip Garner hadn't won championships with the engines that had less than $2,000 in them, and you know what I mean?
He's won
Well
engines
less.
with less than 1,500 because
Yeah.
his machine shop guy back in the day did it all for free.
Yeah. I mean,
no sponsorship, nothing. The guy just said, we're gonna help him. Period.
I'm sure, hey, look, y'all have found another gear at Sayre that y'all have never had. So
we actually, and I can say this, and when everybody thinks, we bought differences. We bought stuff that Wayne and Roy had done for years and mixed it with what Daddy has done for years, and it worked.
Yeah.
And at one point the car was probably the fastest thing over there. But yeah, there's as much inside the bell housing as there is in the motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got lucky this week. I thought it was my clutch whining, but it was my water pump nose, which was probably killing me because water was going everywhere and it was locking up. But so let's move on to the Buzz, Eric. Let's break this thing down. Super Street was something left to be desired, in my opinion. I'm excited about y'all's race, and I hope it doesn't line up with my trip to Illinois to go hunting. I got invited to go hunting in Illinois, so I want to come if I can't. Sorry, but I'll say this: the Buzz race was a different type of slaughtering.
Yeah,
the 3-car looked good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Trey drove up to second from the rear.
Yeah,
but he never did not run him down. That 3-car looked strong, real strong.
And Braden, we do got a North Carolina engine. It come in the 24 car, and it's a good piece. BRD builds different stuff, but Sayre BRD doesn't really line up. I think you can ask anybody that's bought any. The 25 is the first ones to get a stroker motor to run, I think. Say something.
I was trying not to get in on any of that,
Yeah, no, it's a joke. Everybody's claiming everybody's got something, but it's not. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But if I would say spend the $8,000 to find out it ain't good, because
I don't know,
got
Jody.
lucky.
Your stroker motor's done pretty good this year.
Yeah, but it didn't come from BRD.
Oh yeah, y'all did that yourself, didn't you?
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't come from BRD. So the 20 was coming. I think the 20 was coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was it was good to see the 3-car win. There's been a lot of man hours put in that car.
Yeah. Both real good guys too.
Yeah.
Matt Smith obviously, and then obviously it's Matt Smith stuff, but Brandon's there with him every step of the way.
Brandon's turning wrenches on it anytime he can. He's there helping him. I think Brandon's the biggest contributor to his team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the people he took the car to is always been good at setting up cars. I don't know if they want that out there or not, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it was posted on Facebook, so
yeah. What's their name of their new deal?
Iconic Innovations.
Right. Yeah. So Jacob and Casey and Devin have the new deal there.
And they're doing
Innovations.
Hey, we'll give them a plug. They're doing custom work. They'll set up your race car. They're doing
No,
custom hot rod stuff.
I got Outlaw Chassis Engineering, because Outlaw Chassis Engineering added 3/10 to the 54 car.
Oh yeah.
I mean, did you see how much faster the 54 car was?
Yeah. Yeah, and hey, I'll put that business out there. That car's been up there at high level, and Brett Jean been putting ooh-wee to it, and man, come on with it.
Yeah.
Come on.
So nothing against Casey and them, but I do know this. I do know that there is Gary Sanford Jr.
Yeah.
Name another one that's better. I don't think him and Wayne would go against each other.
Right.
They're both very good chassis builders and all.
Oh yeah.
But
head fabricator too. Building bodies. Built a ton of bodies this year.
Yeah. So Gary Sanford Jr. is definitely at the top of the list. Paul Jean, that's both in the same building. You know what I'm saying? So
you're talking about
them. Brett and Ryan are both championship drivers.
You're talking about Paul Jean. Paul Jean has won. A lot of people don't really know this because the people that are at Sayre just only know about Sayre. Paul Jean's won South Alabama, Montgomery, Five Flags. He's over in Georgia. I mean, he's North Carolina. Paul Jean's been winning races since forever.
Hey,
BIR, Series.
all levels of competition he's won at. Trucks, late models, outlaws. I mean, he's. What about I don't know what their fascination is with these leaf spring cars, but they love them. So if you've got a leaf spring car, they've had a bad time with that 93. I think something's tweaked there. I think that's what they told me. They're going to go over it and try to see what's wrong with it. They continue to find things wrong with it. It's been in some wrecks. But yeah, I'll say, Corey Guthrie, when Paul was running in the trucks, he was a hammer.
No, yeah, for sure.
There's two people come to mind if I need help. I'd call Paul with Brett. I'll call Brett, and then Brett, if he don't know, he'll ask Paul, and then Billy Melvin.
Yeah.
Name two other dudes you'd want to set in your vehicle if you could.
Not one.
Not
one.
Yeah,
not around
Outlaw
here.
Chassis Engineering is definitely where you want to go. I'm going to make a post about that after this. But Outlaw Chassis Engineering.
I've got a post to make about Outlaw Chassis Engineering for the Southern Outlaw series.
Well, tell them Jody sent you.
Because let me tell you something. That dude, Paul Jean, has got some type of mental illness. He has 6 cars he is going to try to field. They're going to have at least 3 the first race.
No, but that tells you who Paul is. If you want somebody working on your race car that cares about racing, and doesn't care who wins, outdrive the next guy, it's those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally just want to see good racing. I think they would build a better car. The only people I know, I wouldn't do it. They would build you a better car than theirs.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
They would literally put theirs aside and bring yours to the track better than theirs.
Hey, gotta make that money.
Yeah. And to them, it's about putting you a good product out there if you're going to pay them.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Have you seen their welds? I mean, you're a welder by trade.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've never
they
seen
one person. Hey, hold on now. They ain't but one person stack a bead a little bit better. It's just sevens.
I mean,
I'm
not going to dispute that. I don't think they would, really.
They get on there talking that crap on Facebook. Always.
Yeah. It's funny. You know what's funny though? If you put Justice or them on the job, building a race car, I'm going to take it to Brett and them. I've heard Brett say, man, I got to get this thing done in 3 days because this guy wants to go racing. And you're not going to see a drop of quality. But when it comes to if you got stuff around your house, household stuff, I wouldn't see why not go with Evans Welding. They've been around forever. Do you know how many people at Sayre are just masterminds in their field?
Oh, hey, we gotta quit plugging people for free. They're gonna have to.
Y'all don't send us any checks or anything. All right, let's move back to the race. If you're watching this and you don't mind, hit the like button on there and get run the lights up on it for me. I appreciate
Buzz, that. Matt Smith. What was
Matt
next?
Smith. 20 cars coming, man. I'm glad to see Trey back out there. Yeah. If they start lined up, side by side, I don't think anybody would dispute the 20 car was faster, but it isn't always about faster. It's about time.
That's right.
And he was in the right spot at the right time. Beat the 26 to the corner is one thing that really got him out there. 26 car's hard to pass.
Yeah.
He hits the corner mark every time, no matter where he's in. So that was a good race. And I think what everybody came to listen to is probably next.
So we're going to skip it and go to limited modified.
Yeah, so let's go. we'll talk about it in about an hour. I think the pony stock race was the biggest free-for-all we've had all year. Man, survival of the fittest.
It's like everything bubbled to the surface.
Yeah.
Every gripe, every rivalry, not just including you. You had, what's his name? Samuel Kelly.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Gunner.
And Gunner. I mean, seemed like all the rivalries came to a head at once. I mean, which 4 or 5 of them were pointed at you, but.
So I'm going to be easier on this topic, and I'm going to bring it out to the light that we've discussed this situation. Me and the 25 crew, through a mutual party, have discussed the situation, and I believe we're all on the same page of what happened. And that in the moment, it could look nasty, but I'm going to go with what I was told, and then what I told them, and I'm not. Which myself, you can vouch for this. I was only bringing the energy they brought to me after the wreck happened. So there's no deal there. But I would say when we started the race, it was absolutely 100% he was hammering us.
Oh, over
He
with.
was hammering us.
You were
7, 8 car lengths.
you were not catching him.
No catching him.
Yep.
But as always, in the pony stock, in the mini mod, whatever the goons want to call it, I've been beat multiple times, and multiple people's been beat on that last restart with 5 or 6 to go.
Yeah.
Adams beat me this year. Jeremy Williams beat me one night, and I had him by 9 cars. I was pulling him lap after lap. But if you ever get in front, you can control the momentum. You can sometimes pull one out that you could steal one. The 48 Buzz car beat me one night, for Christ's sakes, because of how fast that thing was off the bottom. And that was my intentions, was to beat him on that restart and beat him to that corner down there. And all I can say after that was Shaka Khan. That's like literally, it was just, it was on. The spin out, I feel like the spin out happened because I was under him, and I think in his mind he was complacent. He was checked out. Hey, I'm gone. He can't beat me. I'm out motoring. I'm out everything. So he thought because he controlled the restart, he was going to beat me just handedly again. And I jumped it great. I mean, I think I was a quarter car up beside him on the outside before they even threw the green flag in the gas, and he just kept it low and went. And when he swooped up to go make the corner, I was set up to take the corner, and I shot under him. And the video doesn't lie. I mean, some people freeze framed it on Melanie's, and if you freeze frame that, I was up to him wheel to wheel, entering off into the corner, front wheel to front wheel. And then when he started coming down, I did let out, got down the track to make the corner turn, and he come across the nose. And it was definitely, he spun out off the nose of my car. Call it how you want to. Here's what I don't care about. I don't care about somebody that's never sat in a race car having an opinion. I don't care about that. Somebody that hadn't been around it. If you've sat in a race car and you've seen it, when you're racing for the win or you're racing for the lead, you don't give them that 2 foot because they just won't. He didn't give it to me, and I didn't give it to him. And like you said, somebody else said, there was a 60-40 my fault. I'll take that spin being 60-40 my fault, because if I'm going down the interstate and a car pulls across to the left, I would have backed out.
Yeah.
We're not going down the interstate. We're racing. So you got to check your mirror. And I just really think it was, he had already thought that it was over. He was beating us so bad, he thought, man, when we restart this, I'm going to hop out front and cruise. And he came across the nose and spins out. And then John and Kate +8 hits him. I mean, everybody.
Man, so, hey, what a hit.
Here's what I don't like. Here's where it's going to get a little bit discrepancy, and I'm not going to talk bad about anybody but Chicken. And Chicken driving the 48 car slides through, and this is not the opinion of Sayre. This isn't the opinion of Eric. This is Jody. It's coming out of my mouth, and I'm saying it. Chicken in the 48 car is mad because he runs over another wreck. Chicken hit that 5 car 2 years ago when it was spun out, and he was leading the race by 40 cars. So don't talk any crap to me. You know what I'm saying? You remember the dark blue 27 car with the American whatever he was on the Uncle Sam on the hood of it, is leading the race by 90 cars and comes through 3 and 4 and slams into the front of the 20. It was the 5 then, the gray 5. He drives like a knucklehead through every corner. And no, I'm not talking about, I don't care about their opinion. And yeah, I would be having fun racing if there wasn't anybody up there in the stands. I'm actually probably one of the few that could care less if there was 2 people up there. I'm racing to have fun, not racing for fans. But my total honest opinion is, I don't even care what Chicken says driving the 48 car, because he's ran over stuff that his hood pins are perfectly shiny. He watches them and washes them every week. He's a bonehead, and you want to talk about crap. It doesn't matter. I was wrecking cars before I had money. So don't pull up to me and say, you're only wrecking cars because you got money. Man, I've been wrecking cars since I didn't have nothing. I've been wrecking cars since I was in diapers.
You wrecked a really good car your first practice at Sayre.
First practice ever.
Yeah, first practice ever. And not only you wrecked 2 cars.
Don't blame it on money. I've been wrecking cars since I started this. So the main thing is,
I know you're talking crap on Burchett, but I want the the irony is he hit Chase Owens. The car you're talking about him hitting, that was Chase Owens in that Starlet or whatever.
Like, look out past your hood pin. Those cars are not slowing down because you got that much faster. They're slowing down because something's happening.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
in the 77, unfortunately, I like Josh. I mean,
man.
I like Josh. Unfortunately, when everything split wide open, I don't think he could have hemmed up at all.
He didn't. Well, I mean,
He couldn't have hemmed up at all. But he
let
also
out,
didn't say anything.
Yeah, if he let out, it was right before he hit him because everybody. It's like the seas parted, and then there was Chase.
And what's crazy, the crazy part about it in those cars, they're 1980 brake mechanisms. He probably stomped it to the floor and it got faster.
Yeah.
He probably hit the brake and the car just went on through. I mean, and the unfortunate scenario is he got clobbered. Nobody wants to see somebody get just drilled. But
well, it went from that too. It went from just being okay. Jody wrecked us.
Right.
Jody's going to go to the rear with us, and we're going to be mad at Jody. To the car's seemingly totaled. I think they said it's on the frame machine. I hope they get it back.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, they're the type of people that come back with it. I mean, that's not a. But the idea is perseverance means more than anything, right? So now I'm giving them nothing. Period. That's just not who I am, and you know that. If he wins this championship, it will be because he earned it.
Yeah.
But the idea is not to get so tied up into it that an incident happens and then you're like red-eyed, blood-faced, because some of the talking is just crazy, dude. Some of it just doesn't make sense because you're not following through with it. You're just flapping. I mean, so this cat says Ray Charles saw you wrecking. Well, I guess he didn't because Ray's blind, and neither did Burchett or the 77. So now my total thoughts are, it doesn't matter if you're setting the car or not. You're absolutely right. You paid your money to get in. You can say whatever you want to say. I'm the only one that knows what happened, and that's pretty much the truth of it, But for him, I do 100% feel bad his car got tore up, but I wouldn't change the way I entered that corner or did that restart period. Not one person, no matter who it was.
I mean, at least you stand by it, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything different. I mean, if those cars wouldn't have hit him, we'd have went to the rear and raced back, probably to the front.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
well, like you said, once you get behind people,
I don't think there was a car out there that would have under. Well, I mean, there was only 5 laps. There was only 5 laps, so yeah, you would have had to pass. You'd had to pass Adam, Brock, the 7, and Daddy. So, I mean, Nathan Widener, I love you too, bud. I don't know who you are, but I may know you. I just don't know your name, but as Nathan Widener, I guess. But yeah, I think it's. Sorry, I brought you on here. I should have did this one by myself, probably to just rant. But
that's what I was just thinking to myself.
Yeah, but no, it's. I needed a co-signer. Now your face is on it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. I'm gonna be getting calls. No. Be getting calls from the track.
Yeah. No, but I don't think you agree with stuff I say. Me and you don't agree on everything.
No, we don't have to. I mean, I can respect that you're standing by your decision, and but I mean, you've got a point to an extent. That what are you supposed to do? Your only chance to beat him was to beat him to turn 1. So,
yeah,
at that point, obviously, you're going to blame him for driving down the track. He's going to blame you for being there and not backing out when you wasn't far enough up on him or whatever, if you weren't. And then, it's going to be your fault because you're the car behind him.
Period.
You know what I mean?
And I take my blame for the spin out. I absolutely take my blame for the spin out.
Yeah.
And what the most aggressive, egregious part was somebody hitting him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's a part of the no radios, no. Somebody could have said, "Hey, Jody's ducking in on him right there." If they'd have said, they was probably at the flag stand when I initially made the duck.
We had that conversation.
Hey, watch out! He's ducking under him.
Yep.
And
I was standing in super streets were still being teched. I was standing there talking to a bunch of those guys. That was the conversation. That wreck was a lack of radios.
Yeah. And radios is probably the only thing that could have stopped it, especially in a mini mod setting, because our brakes don't work that great. I mean, I've been in some super streets and stuff like that, and the brakes wasn't great either. But there's nothing in comparison to, we got the spongiest, crappiest brakes of all racing.
And let me tell you, I invite everybody to go stand in the infield in turn 1 and 2 and watch how on the edge y'all are. Y'all are sideways through the whole corner. I mean,
Yeah, Chris, I see what you're saying. I actually, in my thought process, coming up down the front straightaway, I was outside of him and had to lift to let him get up to the wall. Or he probably, that's how it felt to me. He was going to clear. He could have hit the outside wall. He wasn't going to clear. I didn't feel like, but I knew he was going there. But yeah, you're right though. Absolutely. What I'm saying is, can be taken as truth or not. Like you told me, Chris Hill, it can either be taken as truth or not truth. But what I do is, and like I told you, I can say my truth, and if somebody actually believes it or not, doesn't matter to me, because I know in my heart that I didn't wreck the kid on purpose. So it doesn't matter to me what happens. If they come back and stuff me in the wall, I feel like it's different than if they come and spin me out because I didn't total their car. Yeah, so it actually does take skill to wreck somebody and not wreck yourself. So if you've been around racing, you've wrecked somebody, you've tore their stuff up. But Chris, back to your relevancy of there. Yes, people can believe that I wrecked him on purpose, and that's okay. They have that opinion, they have that right. But I know I didn't do it on purpose. And the worst part about it was he got hit head on. Me spinning him out actually means nothing. If nobody hits him, it's just like, hey, Jody's a jerk for spinning him out, and then we go on back to doing it to it. But unfortunately, he's probably got to spend $500 or $600, or if he doesn't have parts already, to fix his car. I mean, that's the trashy part about short track racing. You don't see somebody hits you, and then you spend a lot of money because of an accident. But it is what it is. It's not a. I think everything's been said. I don't like the people that's not even in it. If Chase come to me face to face and said I was dog crap, all I can say is, man, I hate that your car got hit. Do you want to listen to what happened? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't even think, after we talked, I don't even think he really. It means more to the fans because they don't got the feeling. He understands where I was coming from, in my opinion. I'm trying to pass him. He's trying to race for the win. I'm trying to race for the win. Unfortunately, what took place after, he got hit head on by another car running wide open. So, is this Chase? Is that? I think I can send you a link if that's Chase.
I was about to say I can back completely out.
I think I can send you a link, but
I'll be out of here, son.
Is that? Let's make sure it's Chase Owens, because I'm gonna tell you that some jackleg with just the name Chase on there, then I'm not gonna be happy. Okay.
No, he said, yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
If
So
it's
let
somebody,
me.
if it's somebody butt naked, I'm gonna.
No, dude, no. I'm just gonna end the live. I got that quick hit
okay.
button. So, man,
hopefully
I hope it is him. So.
Hopefully, me hitting this button doesn't end the whole thing. So.
Chase, if this doesn't work, we will do one. But let me.
When I back out, it should give him the opportunity to join.
Okay, he can hit join.
I think.
Eric, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks. Maybe this is him. If not, rejoin. All right, guest left. Let's see if this is Chase Owens. If it is, it'd be greatly appreciated. All right, let's see. Add a guest. Chase, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send you the link in Messenger. And I'm gonna see if it'll let me send you the link without running this thing. And don't feel like you got to come on and it be. You don't have to agree with what I've said. Just, I mean, I'm sure you feel like whatever you're gonna say is gonna be it. All right, cool. So Chase Owens. Hopefully this is the real Chase Owens. Y'all hit the like button. There's 53 people on here, so y'all hit the like button if you haven't while we wait on Chase. And it's a good thing we got great service, great Wi-Fi. I felt like this week was a necessity. What we had to come on here and do this. Yep, here we go. We're gonna add Chase right now. Hopefully the Chase. If not, and I hit the X, I'll come back. There he is. Can you hear me? You may be froze up. Yeah, you're definitely froze up. Everybody, tell me if you can hear him. Tell me if you can hear Chase. I cannot see you, bud. Yeah, it says you're froze. If you want to back out and rejoin the link. All right, yep, don't back out because I think I can see you now. Somebody's like pumping Carter Murray up in here. Yeah, like while he can't talk back, I'll talk about him. Okay, back out and try to come back in, Chase. It's not letting you. It's not letting you come in. Yeah, Chris. If you want to do that, Chris Hill will let you. I'm wide open to let somebody come on here, and I don't think you're the type to have to get on here and cuss and raise hand. Hang on just a second, Chase, while I comment to somebody. If you want to come on here, Chris Hill, and talk about what happened with you and Trey, I'm going to have Trey on here as well so he can talk about it. Because I think this is the best thing you can do is get face to face with each other and say whatever you think happened and go with it. So yeah, we can have an end of the year discussion, Chris. Chase, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can everybody comment? Let me know if you can hear. And now, if you don't like me, you can at least comment because Chase is on here. I mean, like it because Chase is on here. You'd be surprised how many people just come because they want to hear you, but
Everybody
they don't like you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. So I'll give you the floor, man. Start out with it.
All right. Start of the race. Everybody, this is my opinion. Is how I feel. Start of the race. I feel like everybody knew this was fixing to be a dogfight between, especially us two. And I hate, what happened to Gunner at the beginning of the year, but everybody knew that they was about to watch a dogfight because of us two. Seeing what because I feel, this is my personal opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own. What was fixing to happen on that track? Everybody knew it come down to me and you. That's my opinion. That me and you's been the dominant lead this year so far in that division. And I feel like that's probably what was about to happen is they knew they was about to see the 11 and the 25 car battle it out and see who was the best driver. And not the best driver, specifically, but
who
with the
brought
best
the best equipment that night. This year's come down to who had it.
Correct, because every car
lap
is going to change throughout the season. I come one weekend and I had the best car, and then I come back the next and I couldn't turn through one or two. Now, my opinion on what happened, we're obviously going to have different because
Yeah.
So,
say your truth. Say your truth. You know what I'm saying?
So the start of the race, I knew that the odds was the 12 car was probably going to try to jump. I knew that in the back of my mind from the start. I mean, if I'm inside, I know what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah.
So, he tried, whatever, they called it off, whatever. Well, when I had the lead to go whenever they gave the green, I knew I had to either get down and get under him, or when you had to move to get under him, you was going to go, and then the odds are it was going to be a lot harder for me to go around you because, your dad knows the track. So whenever I seen my hole, I took it. I knew you was behind me. I believe it was Brock behind you. Brock's in his old car now. He could hammer us in that car last year. Him and Gunner put the show on last year every race, week in and week out.
Yep.
So I knew that he probably was going to do a lot better in that car. So I seen my hole. I took it, ran my line the best of I could with 5 other cars behind me. When when your dad washed up, I seen my my marks, followed up, just happened to check out. I went under. I feel like I pretty much had it won, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I feel like I
no
had.
caution, no caution. You were stretched out.
Oh yeah, and it was all because I had my car handled. The motor was running at top notch. We'd done a little work throughout the week.
You had your
That
stretcher
was
motor
just
in there.
right. That was just the way it went. That's right. So the restart, I feel like from the get go, my personal opinion, we probably should have waited it because of the jumping. Could be wrong. Now, like I said, I know what I'm going to do, and you done what you felt you should do, which was putting the show on. That's what So,
are you talking about the restart, right? The restart of the race.
The restart of the race, or the restart after the caution.
You felt like, you felt like I jumped you.
A little bit.
Yeah, because I did.
Right.
I
Agreed.
did. Yeah,
Agreed.
I got in the second groove and matted it about a car before you did, which got me about a quarter car ahead of you. I mean, you know how that comes. One stumble and you're waxed again. I mean,
all right, and I'll tell you, anybody on this, on here watching that don't know mini mods, momentum is your best friend, and that's the only way that you can run a mini mod at top notch. Is you've got to learn your marks, you got to be consistent, and you've got to know when to get in them. Because if you don't, it's like Eric said a while ago, you're going through 1 or 2 sideways. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Steering wheel's turned right. So I knew you jumped because I heard it. Then you go up, I went. And the mirror, I looked down, you wasn't there, so I come up to try to set my mark.
Set the corner up.
Set my corner. Okay, so when I went up,
that momentum means so much. If you can get that one car link at the end, it doesn't matter how bad you turn the steering wheel.
Exactly.
It's coming off that we're looking for.
Exactly. Coming off the corner is where you're going to win the race. So I seen, I glanced at my mirror, and all I run, everybody's different. All I run is a little bitty mirror right here in my roll bar.
Yep.
I can see what I need to say, and that's all I know. So come up, set the car, and I that's the last I looked at the mirror. Didn't hear your engine or anything beside my ear. When I came down, I felt like I was good. I was clear. Glanced in the mirror after my car set, and I seen your bumper about right in line with my rear tire. Personally, I feel like that was still my line. You could feel different. Whatever. I'm not arguing with you.
What you didn't see was me jam on the brakes to try to not door slap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you've ever drove in on somebody, once you see, oh my God, he's coming down, you hit the brakes, and that makes it look totally obvious. It makes it look like you 100% did it on purpose.
Right. I agree. So I come down, I feel the nudge. You would have done the same. When you felt the nudge, you had 2 options: either slam the brakes. I slam my brakes, because my car, like your car and every other race car, has got more front brake than rear brake.
Yep.
Front's going down and the rear's coming up. That's all there was to it. If I would have done that, we would have took 2 outstanding cars out, because then I would have spun right in front of you, and odds are you probably, because you had nowhere to go.
If you hadn't throttled back up, I would have definitely hit you.
Right in the door.
Yep.
And that's a race car driver's worst nightmare, is getting hit right in the door, because you can get hurt. So I felt it. I matted the car, hoping that I could pull the car on around the corner. Hoping with high hopes it would pull itself on around the corner. I knew you was going around. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Once my car broke loose, I knew there was no way that you wasn't getting around, because all my wheel speed and momentum had done been brought to a halt.
Oh yeah.
And I'm burning the rear tires, trying to save it.
Yeah.
So, I wash up the track, spinning. Car spins back down the track. Common rule of racing that I've always been taught from my granddad is, if a car goes up the track, it's going to come back down.
Yeah.
So the 48, and I watched all this in slow motion. I see the 48. I actually feel like I made eye contact with the 48. His eyes was as big as mine. He cut the car down. I knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to miss it. He kind of caught me in my passenger side. Whatever. Then,
so it looked like he broke your rear axle. Is that?
Snapped it off in the rear end. Yeah, it snapped it. So then we got the 77. He come up to me and apologized, but he also told me, like you and Eric said, when he seen everybody split. Now, in certain cases, this works. He seen everybody split and knew there was about to be a pile up. He said he matted it and went high. Well, when he matted it and went high, my car just happened to be there, and then me and him, we made my personal hardest hit I've ever took in a race car.
Yeah, but and because it was so blunt head on.
And that exactly right. I mean,
if you would have been sideways still, it would have just been a glance, and it would have been,
right.
Your car would have both cars would have still been whacked out. But
yeah, but
it wouldn't hurt you. It wouldn't hurt your wrist and arms and elbows. I'm assuming is what hurts.
Right, my right hand, the steering wheel smacked it because the way we hit, I was kind of quartered away, and he nailed me. I mean, pretty much head on, but he was caddy cornered just a little bit to the way my car was, and it caused my steering wheel to jerk all the way to the left, smacked my hand. That was driver error. I should have let go of the steering wheel. Didn't, because it was all happening so quick. What do? You can say what you're gonna do, but when it's happening, it's a different story. So then, get out of the car, checking it, looking at it, and at first glance, totaled. So then the wrecker gets over there, we pull the hood off, and at this time, I didn't know that it didn't have an axle on the rear. And I yelled, go get a tire, put it on the front. We may be able to at least try to finish the race, to try to, not lose as many points. And then, the wrecker man looks at me and goes, no, there's no way, your axle's broke off in the rear. So now we looked at the car a little more, possibly totaled, we don't know yet. But I feel as if I went high. There's absolutely no doubt. My dad, my granddad, multiple people has told me I went high. I agree. I did go very high, trying to set my corner up. Reed, whoever that is.
I had no groove to get in. If you would have stayed where you was, I had no groove to get in.
Right. And I've watched videos multiple times, and I went high. When I went high as a driver, you seen the down, that you could get in the groove on the bottom of the track.
Yeah.
Didn't see it. I would have, I don't know what I would have done in your shoes, because I was not in your shoes. With that being said, the day may come where one day not, and it may not even be us two, but there may be a day that I see honestly, the groove you seen.
This is how I feel about it. If somebody comes out there like, I spun you out, that's how you can see it from your end. I spun you out. If that same move happens and I don't block low because it's the restart, and you dive in there, I've got a choice to make. And maybe at that point I'm looking, or I ain't looking. Like I don't know if you heard what I said earlier. I thought you was complacent and thought you was just hammering us, and there was no chance I was going to be there. And it seemed like that might have been, hey, I'm going to set the corner up and go.
Right.
But
I felt that, in a way, but at the same time, we was on a restart. Mm-hmm. You and your dad's car can take off straight out of the corner and pull everybody, 2 car lengths. I don't know why. My biggest guess is probably the gearing difference we're running, whatever. But you can jump out ahead of us and be gone. So I knew without a shadow of a doubt you was going to be somewhere with me right there on the restart.
Yeah.
I felt like if I could get through the first corner, I could probably check out and win the rest of the race.
Again. Yeah.
But, with that being said, you get, and every race car driver is a victim of it. And if they tell you they're not, they're lying. And I'm sure you're going to agree. When you can get that big of a lead going on somebody, you're confident. That's when you're comfortable. You're pretty much some people say you're on a Sunday cruise. You feel like nobody's going to be near you. You ain't got nothing to worry about. All you got to do is drive. And then you get like that. You get complacent. Then you have a restart, and it's like, holy crap, the pressure's back on me now. What am I going to do to get away?
Yeah, and that when you lose that confidence is when you make the most mistakes.
I agree. I did make a mistake of going high. That's what I feel like. I feel like I went entirely too high. But my car, I like a loose car. I'll tell you that, and that's something I need to work on.
It's hurt you this year more than it's helped you, really.
I agree.
There was one night you were checked out. I've never gave up on you being out there because my car is like always a little bit tighter than y'all's. And those few times, and these tires, I don't know if y'all have noticed it, the tires are junk. You get about 2 races out of them. And if you miss it and don't get a good right rear on one, you're going to do what you did that one night. And you got way out front, and then you going up there and almost hit the wall and backed out, and I caught you about 3 car lengths. Then you did it again. I caught you again. The night I ran you down and passed you. You was out there hammering us again. And that my honest opinion was that could happen here tonight. So I never felt like I was out of the race. And at the same time, like you said, on those restarts, anything can happen, especially if if you get that good momentum before they get there.
You go and you're like, all right, so, 2 different cars, 2 different ways to drive 2 cars. But if you watch Barry Martin, Matthew Martin, I think the last big open wheel race we had was Jordan Key.
Yep.
You go watch them guys. They get out front. They can set the pace of the race. They can go as slow as they want or as fast as they want because you can dictate who's behind you and what they're going to do, all because you're the leading car. You can set the pace. Now, that's after you're out, but you can set the pace. You come off the bottom of one. As long as you're on the bottom of the track at one, nobody's getting around you. For any of the new drivers, and you can agree with this, any of the new drivers trying to race Sayre, your only passing point is turn 1 and 2. It's too hard to come off at the bottom of 3 and 4 because you got the wall that's coming very quick to you. So 1 and 2, where you got the big enough gap, it's the only place that you can really, if you can get your car to come off the bottom, that's where you can get going. And that's what I was trying to do, was get my car to the bottom of the track off the apex and just go. And my plan was to get out of there and, go. But at the same time, like I said, I had to go high to get my car set up. And then I seen you come down and I was like, okay, he's not at my door. I was like, this is still my line. I felt like, you wasn't at my door. So I felt like it was still my line and I was going to take it. And then, it's like you said, it was 60-40, and then I've talked to, multiple of the track officials. They voiced their opinion. You voiced yours and I wanted to voice mine. But, I feel like, the bottom line is pretty much like Eric was saying, if I could have got through 1 and 2, probably could have been over with. I don't know who Reed XJ3 is, but they're talking about setting them up in 1 and 2. You set them up, but you can set them up to pass in 3 and 4. But the thing is, you got to be 100 times quicker and already be under them before you get down the back stretch.
Yeah. This red XJ33. He's a notable guy around the track. I can't think of his name, but he knows racing. He's been around Sayre, but sometimes no matter what, I used to sit in the stands and say, man, if I'd have been in that car, I'd have won. No, if I'd have been in that car, I would have probably ran 10th the night that guy ran second behind the other one. It's just the main thing is the way the race ended was poor. I mean, I feel like if you hadn't have got hit head on, you could have passed because they would have put me behind you. So we probably could have got back up to second or third pretty quick. I mean, and I think it changes the way Brock drives Daddy, and that not any rougher, but he would have tried harder to pass him because he would have knew we was coming. If he could have got around Daddy, then he would have been on out there. The best part about the whole scenario, and I know nothing changes y'all's cars at the frame machine or whatever, and but the best part about the whole scenario was my dad wasn't involved in the caution that created the restart. Me and him was talking yesterday, pushing in the shop, and of course the dad side, not the racer side, but the dad side. Did you wreck him? When we're having those discussions in the shop, what really happened? Let's talk about what really happened. Number one, why was we getting beat? What do we need to do to get faster? And the car was tight, so that was number one. And so what could have changed what happened? It probably, I feel like in that one corner, if I had backed up the corner, and I may have even could have set you up, because the way you was going in so hard, I probably could have ran with you down the back straightaway, because I think motor wise we're pretty close. But handling usually is what gets one of the two of us out front. That's, like 2 weeks ago, I was out front, my car picked up a push, and you ran me down. And so we were just laps away from you getting by me. If that hadn't have, if there would have been a little bit longer, you'd have got it. Can you read that? Can you read what that guy said?
Louder.
My mic went quiet.
Yeah, now it's back.
Is it back? Okay. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've talked to multiple people. Some people say it's my fault because I went so high. You know, some people say it's your fault. I feel like maybe, you know, if you know, my personal opinion, if I would have been in your shoes, you know, at the exact time, Zach Brannon, I don't know who that is, but that's who, you know, I probably would have, you know, broke down my car a little bit because like you said, I was going in with so much momentum, I was probably going to wash up the track. I feel like I probably would have slowed up a little bit to save what happened because, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you cause the wreck, you still go to the rear, you know, whatever. I feel like, in my personal opinion, I probably would have broke my car down a little bit more, you know, and then tried to set up for the next corner.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's what I feel I would have done. Is tried to slow my car down.
Yeah. Break it down on entrance and try to get that run off.
Right.
But you know, my whole game plan from the start, when it was time to go, was to beat you to one, and I felt like that was my best chance to win, was to beat you to one, and be up there far enough that maybe you ride that outside lane a couple laps and kill your tires. Because the way, as fast as you was, you could have been out there. You could have raced on the outside of them. But you know, if you're on the bottom groove of Sayre, you've got the advantage. It's not like bigger tracks where you can go in a little harder, because if you get up there in them pine cones, you're screwed for sure. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's 1,000 ways we could have probably skinned that cat. It could have even been worse if I'd hit that asphalt hump down there. We'd have both been stuck in the outside wall, and then no telling who comes in there and pops us. I mean, that's it's crazy that thing hadn't been leveled down some too, because it'll kill you going off in there. But
Right.
but yeah, I think there was things I could have did on that restart entering that corner that would have ended it. You know, like it would have either, if I backed up the corner and got under you down the backstretch, would have been one, and then two, had you backed out and went and stayed high, you know, like if you'd have looked in the mirror and said, "Oh crap, he got me," then that possibly could have ended it, or we would have raced for it. And then, yeah, I mean, or what happened, you know. I mean, but
Right.
I hope we can agree my move that I made did result in your car getting tore up, but my move I made didn't tear your
Oh,
car.
100%.
You know, so I mean,
The move you made was the initial contact
yeah,
that led to my car being clapped out.
yeah.
I mean, and you know, we both can agree to that 110%. You know, and some of the track officials have said that, you know, from their point of view, it did look like you initially helped me to get around, and there's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think you can, you know, say that, yeah, I nudged you.
No, we
You know,
touched. We touched.
right. And then I, you know, went around, but I 110% will stand behind that. That is the reason, you know, my car got mangled up, is because of that initial, you know, left rear.
If there would have
Upset.
never been a touch. Now, I don't know if you saw the freeze frame of how far up under you I was.
Is there a way that we can post that on here? Because I've got two. I've got one where we're coming down the back stretch, we're wheel to wheel. Then I've got
Down.
another one when we're entering the corner. You can see the glare off of your front rear behind my bumper on the initial impact.
I think it's a whoever freezed it, where they freezed it to want to see it. But if you go watch, I want to say Melanie Umber's video. If
Right.
you can blow it back. So what I wasn't gonna do. This is what I wasn't gonna do. I've got the picture. I think I can get the picture from the guy that showed it to me, because I didn't go freeze frame it. I know what happens. You know what happens. It doesn't matter what we post or what anybody says. We know what happened out there in our minds. What we've made in our minds has already happened. But I wasn't going to post it and be like, "Oh, look here, you know, this is what happened," and yada yada yada, because it doesn't fix anything between me and you. Your car's somewhere getting worked on right now, and mine's in the shop on jack stand, so it doesn't fix that. But yes, I can get the picture
I wish we could post it on the live.
I can't post it here because I can't.
Yeah, I know. You look at some of these people that make lives, and I don't know how they do it, but I've got multiple of them, multiple froze pictures that show multiple different angles, and then depending on the way you look at racing and the way you think about racing, you're gonna come up with two different opinions. That's However, the ones that I looked at, I think right now it
depends on what shirt they're wearing. If they're wearing a 12-11 shirt, it's your fault. If they're wearing a 25 shirt, it's my fault.
Fair enough.
I mean, if you ain't seen that in short track racing, you could have been a sweet angel, and the one time you bump somebody, it's over with. I mean, you're trash. But the main play is, I think that if we was going to court, if I had to prove my innocence like NASCAR does, and there was technology inside the car that showed where I was in the gas, where I was out, and in the brake, and you could see that, you could say, okay, he didn't mean to get me like that. Because if there was one thing I was doing, was pedaling it hard to not finish spinning you out. That was 100% what was happening in the car. But you can't prove that, so it's no need in even talking it. But I can get the picture of how far under you I was probably sent to me, and send it to you in a message.
All right. Now, there's multiple people going to say what they want, and I did feel as if you took my car up the track and spun on purpose, and I'll probably stand behind that, because me and you, the two, like I said, at the beginning when I come on here, it was coming down to me and you. We was going to dog it out no matter what. It was coming between me and the 11 car. That's how it was, and that's how it's been multiple
When me and you roll in the gate, they know that they're going to play with somebody this year.
Right.
And I'm not going to talk a lot about that, because next year Gunner's going to be back with fast cars, and we're going to have to race him.
Right. So, we're back to the normal, normal.
Sure.
There's a video, on one of your podcasts, and this is some of the reason I feel the way I do is, you made a comment saying that you and the Dawkins have the same mentality. If you're going to spin somebody, you're going to do it all the way, or I don't know how you worded it, but I've seen that video.
Well, if we're going to tear something up, we're going to tear it up all the way. That's what I said. If you go back, we're going to tear something up, which would have been me right rearing you down the front straightaway if I wanted to just get rid of you.
Right, and that that's some of the reason. And some people are going to say what they want, but that's some of the reason I feel like, hey, maybe he knew if he gave me that nudge, my car spun around, a bunch may come through and hit me.
Yeah. No. And so, getting spun out in front of the field isn't anything that's like new, but I wouldn't say your car getting tore up wasn't on my mind. My mind was to go beat you, because me and you both know whoever finishes ahead of each other these next two races wins the championship.
Agreed. Right. And I'm not, I don't want, there's going to be people.
If I beat you last week, this week, and next week, no matter where we finish, 1, 2, 3, it would
7,
be my
8, whatever.
But if you beat me, you're going to win it.
Right. So, and I'll tell you, and I talked to Brandon Parker for about an hour last night, and I believe he told me y'all talked to. I'm not one of the race. I don't like to be the racer that shows up, and then you got, you're the dominant car. You hit the front door, you're checked out. I don't like to be that guy. I like to have pressure behind me, because it makes the driver more mature in a race car, and it's going to teach you how to handle a car. So with that being said, you're going to have people that's going to run their mouth regardless. People's going to open their mouth, and what's going to come out wants to come out. But I don't want anybody to come up to you and say that I'm coming to total you, because I'm not. I want to show up and outdrive you, just like you want to show up and outdrive me, and that's racing. Yep. So with these next two races going down, I don't want you to think, if I'm behind you, that I'm going to nail you in your right quarter panel and put your bumper in the wall. It's not my plan. I plan on setting you up and coming under you, just like you. I hope you plan on setting me up and coming under me, and letting just the best driver of the two and the best equipment speak for themselves.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, there's only one thing I can promise you, is if you win the King of Dixie and I run second, I'm going to put the money up and let them run the little dial down there and check your stroke.
Oh, go right ahead.
I'm going to do it. And here's why. And I told Eric this because all year when I was winning, everybody said he's illegal. And then you started beating us pretty good, and everybody says he's illegal. And there's not a gasket that's got to be broke to say, hey, he ain't illegal.
100%.
You know what I'm
You got to
saying?
run. All you got to do
is put the dial in there, and all it does is, if you're legal, it solidifies what happens. He beat me legally. You know what I'm saying? And if you do it to me, somebody said, "Oh, so and so's gonna," and it wasn't y'all. They wasn't talking about y'all protesting me. Somebody else said they was gonna protest. It's like all that does is solidify you getting beat with a legal motor. I mean, it doesn't do anything. So, and like I said, I would do it too. But if we check, all it does is send you home with $300 more and a piece of wood that you can say, here was the stroke. You know, so it's like, if there was any type of if there's any type of discrepancy in me beating you, if I outrun you next week and the next week and beat you for the championship, or we show up next week and I grenade a motor or you grenade a motor, which God, I hope doesn't happen to either one of us because we got good stuff. But if that happens, that doesn't make it necessarily the best championship you could have won. Man, if his motor hadn't blew up, he wouldn't have won it. If he hadn't wrecked, he wouldn't have won it. But like, we're pretty close. So I think I didn't check, but they hadn't posted, I guess. But we're close. Whoever wins, I know as of last week, whoever wins was gonna be if me and you could win out, whichever one of us win out, we're gonna win the championship.
There's a 3 points difference in us right now. And we had a 9 points difference.
Okay. Yeah, so if anything, it's more neck to neck than it has been right now.
Hands down. And that's going to bring in the fans. You know, that's going to put money in Sayre Speedway's pocket, you know, which is what they want.
Somebody said the Parkers was padding it so I could win, and that's just talk. You know, it's always people talking that, oh, they're padding it so you can. I wish the envelope was fatter if they was padding it. Can I get some of the money from the concessions and stuff? That would be better for me if that's what was happening. But I believe right now is the best time of your racing career, because you hadn't been racing long. I've been in this situation before where I got to show up and try to beat you. I've won championships. By all means, I wasn't. If you didn't see, last week I was at the beach, and this week I'm at the beach. I wasn't racing this race until I saw how bad you wanted the championship. But that is why we compete. We can't compete in baseball anymore. There's no MLB for us. There's no NFL. This is competition that we can stand the hair up on our necks and race for it. And then stuff happens like last week, and it's like the Braves stealing signs, you know, like that. He wrecked him to do this and that. So we're both racing for a championship, and I believe whoever wins it, barring somebody being a goober and doing something crazy, which I believe would come from somebody else besides the two of us at this point. If nothing else stupid happens, whoever goes out there and outruns the other one has something to. When you look at that trophy 10 years from now, you can say, that's the time I beat Jody, or I can say, that's the time I beat Chase because we was close.
Right.
You know,
and that's, you know, and I knew that you was going to take a vacation the year or the, you know, I do stuff on, you know, throughout the weekend on my own, you know, after races or whatever. And I knew eventually you was going to go to the beach.
Yeah. And this was my 2-week vacation that you get to say I didn't take because of you. I was not racing this middle weekend because it's tough to have 2 cars ready to go if you're just one person. Like this week, luckily, you know, and this doesn't sound good, but luckily my car's not tore up. You know, you're doing a lot more work this week
you know,
than I'm
unfortunately mine's sitting in a million pieces, you know, at a frame machine shop because, you know.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, there is this week when you come back, I don't think the disadvantage is that big because now you're going to go over your whole car. You wouldn't have went over your car the way you're going over it right now.
You know, I feel 100% different. The disadvantage is at 110% higher than it's been all year because, you know, some of the best stuff I've had in my 4 years of racing has been bent, mangled, and destroyed, and now it's at a frame machine. You know, and we're not sure that we're going to have to result back to my other car yet.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: it is the you know, I'm usually not the words, but I ain't got to say it as fast. It's a hill that if you climb and come back this week and win, uh, what better feeling is there? I mean, it's no better feeling than if you can come back and win this week. And like me and Dad was talking, we got to free my car up, or it's not going to run with yours. And also the ability for you to come back and have the confidence. If you can come back with the confidence that your crew tightened all the bolts back up, which is probably your granddad. If you and your granddad get your car back to where it comes back and competes, you definitely got something to be proud of. I went through the same thing last year, but it was my own dad that KO'd us, and we put it on the frame machine and got it back. And I know it can be done, and I know that your granddad's been around racing long enough to get it done. And you're new to it, and you're getting to see something that I think a lot of us gunner, the gunners, I'm gonna say the garners, being my dad and myself in a mini mod. I don't know other people's stories because I don't keep up with them, but they've totaled cars and came back and been fast. You've totaled cars with that 5 car last year when Burchett came through there, or maybe 2 years ago, and KO'd you in 3 and 4. That's the only
That
reason
was
what he was saying, man. Like he was out front leading by 90 cars, and you're sitting there. 14 seconds later, he bams you, and I'm like, dadgum. But it's not saying Burchett is probably one of the top 10 best pony stock drivers because of how edgy he
hands
is.
down.
But at the same time, some people's mouths make me not like him. I mean, and it's not. Y'all, can you hear me again, Chase? Is it?
Yeah. I got you.
Okay. But the main thing is a lot of people's demeanor in their mouth makes you not like them. How you overcome controversy is what they ain't necessarily even got to like you, but they can respect what you've done. So, I mean, I respect this. I respect you coming on the podcast and chipping in and saying what you think, not sitting across from somebody and just agreeing because you want to agree or whatever, but saying what you think and going with. Can you hear me? Or is these people losing? Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
As long as you can hear me. Sorry guys, if y'all can't hear me, there's literally nothing I can do to make it any louder. But the if you can make it back this week and compete, which I hope you can in your black car, and it's right. And if it's not right, y'all stole one earlier in the year when me and Gunner, you come back with your backup car and you stole one with the gray car. So you really never know what's going to happen. You just have to show up and be there.
Agreed. And going back, like you said, to me and Burchett, that not trying to correct you or whatever, but that was the very first time that car had ever hit the track. That was actually a car that we made a trip to the other side of Florida to buy and brung it back. It was actually my little brother's car that he was going to start running with us. And my gray car went down.
Gray car, was it? You wasn't in the gray car.
It was the purple and pink 6.
You was in the trunk car like mine.
It was in the purple and pink 6. Brand new car. Very first time we had ever had it on the track.
Yeah. And Burchett was, I mean, going to Pound Town. He was killing everybody that night.
Right.
But
Corey Guthrie, may not hurt to bring both cars. They are probably, with high hopes of him having the black one back, they'll both be there because of a safety net.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think me and you will ever agree on what happened. I think we can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But I don't think, that me and you will ever see it in the same point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Not the incident that happened there. But
No.
like I said, if I showed you a picture of what happened, it still wouldn't. It's just a freeze frame shot. It doesn't give you that 0.6 seconds that we was in that one spot at the same time.
Right.
I mean, all you can probably do is talk to people that's been around racing and say, if you respect their opinion, what they say, that's all you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and here's another thing that like happens. The amount of people that don't even know you, probably haven't even talked to you, saying that y'all are coming back to wreck me. None of that stuff matters to me until something happens. So like when me and Brandon called and said that y'all had talked and wanted to know where I stood, I stand. The way I've been able to compete this year was not to worry about last week's problems. It was just come back and try to do whatever it takes to win the next week. That's been the best thing for me.
Right, and I'm going to show up Saturday night regardless of the car I'm in. I've built a very good fan base this year, I feel like, and I'm going to show up with my head on straight, with the absolute best I can do, and with the most confidence I've had all year, because I know deep down if I do not outrun that 11 car, whether we finish 50th and 54th or first and second, I know if I don't outrun that gray car, then the closest I've ever been to a championship is going to be took away. So that's going to be my drive for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to know that I have to show up and outrun you, just like you've got to show up and outrun me.
That's it.
And I respect that me and you don't agree, and we never will. But I'm going to do my absolute best to outrun you week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's the goal. If that hadn't been your goal since the beginning of the year, you've been in the wrong place.
Right.
I mean, I don't think either one of us showed up any week this year and didn't think we had a chance, though.
Right.
I mean, that's what makes it good. I mean,
but I'm gonna hop off here, get in bed. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, that's where we'll be.
All right, man.
All right, man. So that's it. You got to see. I mean, if you like the podcast, I'm just going to end it there. There's no need in going on and talking further about that situation. Outlaw Chassis Engineering is the sole sponsor of GRP, and this week we went live, and luckily we went live because we was able to get the opinions of Eric and Chase. I don't think Eric really gave an opinion on the scenario, but Chase got to give his. And I appreciate you guys watching. And it's 2 more weeks left to Sayre Speedway, and I think I've got some pretty good guests lined up that are willing to come on. We just got to get in the same room. So if you guys like the podcast, if you liked hearing from Chase, what I hope will happen is anybody that does win a championship this year at Sayre, I'm going to try my best to get them on, because there is no story like these stories. And he'll always have his side of what happens here at this racetrack. So Chris Hill, I don't need a bumper, but I got one. But yeah, that everybody that wins a championship, no matter how hard it is or who all showed up or who didn't, they've got a story to tell. I mean, and so if you've been around racing and you really enjoy racing, that championship trophy being on the wall or being on the shelf or whatever, however they give them out, is hands down a story that if somebody comes to your house, you can tell them about, and they probably remember every single scenario that got them to that point. Every one of them. Chris, you've won championships. That is something that absolutely stands out to you for a long time. And if you're willing and you're able to get out there and compete week in and week out, yeah, the jacket, Corey, the jacket means a lot. You get to wear that jacket and people ask you about it, and you're hands down that man that year. So it's a big deal to a lot of people and to their fans and their families. And you see that when things happen, how emotional people get. So I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. If you don't mind, hit the like button before you get off here. There's 49 of you watching live right now, and it's been in and out a lot more than that. So I appreciate you guys rolling in and out more than that. I appreciate you guys tuning in that you did. Hit the thumbs up. That's the like button here. Hit the thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys for commenting. And sometimes, hey, even on here, I get fired up also. There is not a single competitor out there. The competitors that are willing to strap in those cars and compete at any level, Buzz, Road Warrior, when there was a Renegade, Pure Street, Street Stock, they're giving it their all. And they're giving it all for their family. And when they get tied up in that moment, in those moments, you shouldn't hold it against them. Not as a driver, not as a fan. People remember stuff. People remember stuff. Um, I appreciate you being here, start to finish. Go all the way through the years. People remember things about you and say things about you that they didn't even know you. So a lot of these guys are at home right now in bed, getting ready to go to work tomorrow and take care of their kids. Some of them are lucky enough to have residual income, but they don't even go to work. They just whatever they do, they go to the lake or whatever. And there's a lot of really good people that race at Sayre and Huntsville and Montgomery that are just, I mean, literally working class people. And for us, for me, one of the big things people talk about money, 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 money. That's aggravating to me because I was racing when I didn't have anything. And I, by far, if people think they know me, they don't know me. I have to work, well, I mean, besides these 2 weeks, I have to work every day. I can't stay home. And no, Chris, I'm not going to sponsor you because you're a dirty driver. But I don't, I don't, so I'm going to read this one. It's always awesome to watch, and I enjoy the people in the back of the track just as much as in the ones in the front. I appreciate all the people who race so we can have entertainment. That's right. And whoever Grasshopper is, that's right. These guys put in hard work. I mean, a lot. What's up, Richard? Raw fish. They put in a lot of hours at home and at the office. And whether their office is the back of a welding rig or their office is in a mud hole somewhere, digging ditches. They're putting their heart and soul into that race car when they get home. As my dad says, you work 8 days a week on the race car and 7 days a week at work to be able to compete. So, yeah, watch out for the ratchet around the hills. That's funny. Yeah, so Jamie Campbell, congratulations on your win. I see you on there. I'm assuming you've already hit the thumbs up, and I appreciate y'all and the support that you've gave me so far in this. But that pretty much sums it up. There was some other stuff that we'll discuss probably in another podcast that I'll put out there. Um, Man, it was an exciting week. It didn't go the way I think anybody planned it in our division. Adam and the 7 car did get together and tore up some stuff. Um, that's for them to work out. Also, I was in my own trouble this week, and if I would have had an opinion on that situation, was the the wreck actually happened in the same positioning in the other corner down there. So it just going into 3 and 4 versus going into 1 and 2, and during the race versus on a restart, or during like live laps after we ran a few. So yeah, the biggest part about it is pull for who you're going to pull for and have a good time. And we appreciate you being at Sayre. I know earlier I got a little fired up, but we appreciate people being at Sayre Speedway as drivers, because if you're not there, really, you'd just be racing for a trophy probably, or we'd have to put money into a pot if we was going to race for it and all that. But I know, I really do know, and I feel like there's a lot of really good people that aren't out there just being boneheads at Sayre Speedway. There's been some good racing, there's been some bad racing. And however you feel about the scenario, um, Chris, I was just messing with you too, little Marty. But yeah, there's a lot of you guys in the fans that work just as hard to get to the track and support your driver. So thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you check off here. I'll give you a few seconds, then I'm going to end it. I appreciate you guys that have liked it. I appreciate you guys that stayed in here through the whole thing. And I will probably do a recorded version. It may be next week before I get back with the podcast. This was the podcast, by the way. And I do thank Chase for being on. He's a good driver. As young as he is, as good as he's doing, I mean, he's probably 20, I think, 2 or 3 years into the class. Been through some. I would say he's probably been through some bad equipment. I think we all start out in bad equipment though, or we make it look bad anyways. But not his was definitely not the best piece of Chase gone. boring live now. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's how some people feel. If there's not somebody else on here, it's boring. It's just me talking. But I appreciate you sticking around this far. Hit the thumbs up button there. But what I will do I will say the car he's in, doing what he's doing in it, is at least as good as on nights he's had spurts look just as good as Jeremy Williams has. So been very fast, and Tyler Rice did a good job in that car too. So it's good. It's good to be in a competitive scenario. That's how I look at it, anyways. But time to chase some whitetails anymore. What? I didn't get that one. Yeah, it is time to chase some whitetails. I actually talked earlier about going to Illinois and hunting and hoping that I don't miss the big race that Eric and them is going to be putting on. But this is definitely, I feel like, been the best video that we've done all year. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to end it here. Enjoy the vacation that we have. Get back to work Friday on the car, and then the next week we'll be back at work at Burton Campers. And as always, I appreciate Outlaw Chassis Engineering, Brett and his dad and the crew over there. They do a great job. If you need some help, I think that Jamie can probably tell you how good a work they do. If he wants to, he may not. I think they helped him out a lot with his car. Spoke in Testament and drove a great race this weekend. So if you need a reference, there's one. Jamie Campbell and myself. I've seen the work they do. They do great welds. So appreciate you guys tuning out, and see you this weekend at the track.